Hey, what up, y'all? Mr. Cruz here, your friendly neighborhood producer, back with another video. And in today's video, we are going to compare between other alternatives to Bandlab, including Soundtrap and AudioTool. Let's go. Now, I know most of you guys are coming to my channel as a result of Bandlab and Bandlab tutorials, but I wanted to highlight some other programs and some other softwares that are not only appropriate and similar to enough to Bandlab that you should be able to get your feet wet without having much of a learning curve between the two programs, but also some free programs that you also might be interested in regards to being able to create music and create beats and songs all for free online. Now, I do kind of want to highlight the pros and cons between some of these other programs and show how they are similar or different to Bandlab. So with Bandlab, I would say Bandlab has a lot of great things going for it. I would say the sounds that they have, the packs, I have definitely noticed an increase in the quality of sound since when I first started using Bandlab. And the fact that they're constantly adding new packs and some packs by like major producers, that's unbelievable. Not to mention that the loops that they have, when it comes to the loops that they include for you guys to be able to use that are royalty free, if you've seen my other video, they're royalty free that you guys can use to be able to build your songs and make your songs with. Those are really, really good, and they're really, really high quality. So I think out of all the things that Bandlab has that are really great and that are really positive, those are the things that are probably major. Now, this is strictly talking about the desktop version. So we're not talking about the app, because I know the app is amazing. And if you have a Chromebook, they have the Chromebook app that you can use as well. That's very similar to what you have on the phone. However, I would say one of the negative things that Bandlab needs to improve on is the quality of their effects and the quality of the sound engine. So you'll notice that when you're working in Bandlab that a lot of times you get lag, or like the loop doesn't quite line up, or like it cuts off like a millisecond before it starts again, and there's not that smoothness when it comes to going from one pattern to the next. Like if you're talking about like a region here, so like if I were to take this and then if I were to copy it, even if I lined it up perfectly, you'll probably hear a lapse or a gap in between those two regions. So that is not always something that your computer can do or can fix. A lot of times it's just a problem with the audio engine and a result of using a website that requires so much processing power that no matter how powerful your computer is, like it's not going to be able to keep up with it. Now that is a negative. The good thing about it is I do like the fact that Bandlab does have a decent or really good amount of presets, so a lot of sounds that you guys can use that you can start out with. And the best thing about it by far is that it is all 100% free. You don't have to pay for anything. Everything comes in the box that you can start out with and use immediately to be able to make your songs and to make them sound pretty good. I wouldn't sleep on Bandlab because I think people would knock it, but in reality, T-Pain made his first album using GarageBand, and back then GarageBand was maybe just as or even more limited than what we get in Bandlab. So those are some things about Bandlab. Again, I think it's very easy to use and it's very simple. If you don't know much about music, then Bandlab is a really good introduction to what it takes to compose and make beats and you know, all kinds of like songwriting techniques. And also the fact that you get to collaborate with people. But every single program I'm gonna show you today allows you to collaborate with people in some way, shape, or form. Okay, next we have Soundtrap. Soundtrap is another really good one, and it's also very similar. Out of the three that I'm gonna show you today, it's probably the most similar to Bandlab in the way that it looks and how you would probably navigate finding loops and finding patterns. They also have loops that you can find. The added bonus that I think Soundtrap has over Bandlab is the quality of the sounds. So even though Bandlab has a lot of sounds that you can use for free, Soundtrap sounds, most of them are hidden behind a paywall where you would have to, let's take a look here if we can find some. Yeah, where you'd have to pay to use some of these premium patches or these premium presets for sounds, but the free ones that you do start out with are actually really good quality. I mean, there's stuff that I would use in my professional production and the beats that I'm making for, you know, these professional artists. The other good thing about it is that I've noticed that Soundtrap has a better audio engine, and compared to Bandlab, where Bandlab you get that lag, you get that skip, you get those like little blips where no matter what you're doing, it doesn't line up and it doesn't sound right, it doesn't sound on beat, stuff sounds off. In Soundtrap, I have never gotten that. And as you guys know, I'm a teacher, so I work a lot with students and I'm showing them how to use Bandlab and Soundtrap and all this other stuff. When I've shown them Soundtrap, I have never had any of them have the issues that they end up having with Bandlab. So to me, that's a huge plus. Also, not to mention, like, you know, you get to collaborate with people. And I do believe Soundtrap has like a podcast template for people who are interested in getting into podcasts and want to do that. I think that's also a pretty good thing, since, you know, podcasts just seem to be so popular. And the last one that we have is AudioTool. So AudioTool is the one that I'm least familiar with, but this one also has a huge advantage over both Bandlab and Soundtrap in the fact that you can actually have a mixer, right? So here they actually have a mixer, and this is actually really cool because it allows you the option to freely route and splice together and separate sounds as you see fit. So for example, this is kind of one of the major things that I talked about with Bandlab and with their introduction of the sampler, is that you have the sampler, but no matter what, all of them are going to be routed out to an individual channel, right? They're all, if you want to add an effect to just the snare or just the hi-hats, you can't do that in Bandlab because Bandlab doesn't have a dedicated mixer. So in this one, it's actually really cool because you do get ability to route out individual channels in your drum sampler or in the sampler to individual channels. This is something that I think is a huge oversight in Bandlab and Soundtrap that I think keeps them from achieving that professional quality or that professional status compared to other programs, because you don't have the ability to mix something properly or to master something properly. Now, I would say this one also has the steepest learning curve, so this is a pretty complicated program to learn. But I think the trade-off is that once you learn this, not only are you going to learn how to mix and how to route and you know, splice instruments and effects together properly, but that's a skill that's going to carry you over into programs like FL Studio, Pro Tools, Reason, Ableton, Logic. Like, no matter what other program you go to, the skills that you learn in AudioTool will definitely carry over and help you be a better producer, a better musician, better audio engineer in other programs. And so as I said, this is the one that I'm least familiar with. This is the one that I've spent the least amount of time with. But from the looks of it, one of the glaring omissions is that it doesn't seem to offer you a lot in terms of instruments. So these synthesizers right here, and you have these drum samplers. So that's pretty much it. So you don't have a whole lot of different instruments and different patches. Now, of course, if I drag this one in, this one probably has, you know, tons of different presets that you can use to find different sounds. But I think having more instruments or synthesizers added to this would be a huge benefit. All right, so there you guys go. Let me know in the comments below if you're using one. So if you're using AudioTool, Bandlab, or Soundtrap, more than likely you're using Bandlab. If you had the opportunity or the option to pick another one to try out, which one would you pick? Me personally, I would probably pick Soundtrap, but AudioTool does seem very intriguing with the ability to be able to route out and mix things. I'd be interested to seeing how much it could handle. But you let me know which one you would pick in the comments below. So if you feel like you learned something, make sure to hit that like button for me. That'll definitely help me out. And then, of course, once you're done making those beats, head on over to BeatStars, upload them, start selling them, and start making some money. I'm actually going to do you a favor if you hit the link in the description and use my code CRU230 when you sign up for BeatStars. I'm going to hook you up with your first month of BeatStars completely for free. I say this time and time again. I've been a member of BeatStars for a very long time, and I completely love it. It has definitely changed my life. And not only has it helped me to be a better musician, but it's also helped to teach me a lot more about the music industry. So I would love for you to join me over there. Outside of that, it's your boy, Mr. Cruz, out.